And this is really my number one driver tip, is imagine that's a wall. Your head should be behind it at setup. It should stay behind it during the backswing. It should stay behind it in transition and actually back up a little bit from there into impact. Your head stays back of the wall while you push your hips forward. Hey guys, today I want to talk to you about the hanger training aid. Now, I don't know if you've seen this or used this before, but it is absolutely my new favorite training aid. This hanger here creates and controls what I think is the most important part of the swing, which is the wrist angle. It snaps right on. It takes me probably 30 seconds to put on. I can put it right in my golf bag. And best of all, the main trait of a training aid that's really good is you can hit balls with it. You can actually hit balls with it. So I love this hanger training aids. I've been using it probably for the past 6 to 7 weeks in my own game. You may have seen me in videos talk about, hey, I'm really trying to get my left wrist flat at the top. Look at when I do that well, how that sits on my forearm. Now watch when I cut my wrist, how that comes off. Immediate feedback for where my wrist angle's at. I like to use this even during my takeaway. When I set it up here, I like to keep it between my arms during my takeaway, press it against my left wrist for flat left wrist at the top, press it more against. Look at when I press it against, how that shallows my shaft, that keeps my club face square to close, helps me hit from inside. So I absolutely love this. I firmly believe that this is good for every single golfer. There's no one that can have too flat of a left wrist. One of the few things that all good ball strikers have, we're trying to have. Flat left wrist, right? Super easy to use, incredible immediate feedback. With the coupon code GogornoGolf.com, it's only $59, and I can actually hit balls with it and get instant feedback. Yes, I don't know if you can hear that, but that's about as compressed as I can hit a ball, and that's the main point of this hanger. Iron compression. You're gonna absolutely love it. We'll put all the details down in the description down below. Hey guys, in today's video, we're gonna talk about my number one driver advice, and really the one biggest tip I can give you to explain why the pros hit it so high and far, and the drill that I really, really like that you can use to help you hit the ball farther regardless of your swing type. And there's really two drills here that we'll dive into. We'll do a simple version, a little more complicated version if you want to set something up later. I'll show you that towards the end of the video, so stick around for that. As you guys are watching today's video, if you do like it and can click that little gray thumbs up button, would mean the world to us. Really, really helps us out, send our videos to more people. YouTube likes that. We like that as well. So why do the pros hit the ball so high and far? What's my number one driver advice? Why don't I have a driver in my hands? A couple things. If you guys watched the US Open, which just recently happened, one of the things I noticed when they were doing that little 4D, all the cameras around the player, you heard Paul Azinger and all of the analysts talk about like 100 times about what? During the downswing. They talked about how incredible it was that the players kept their head back, and how all of the players kept their head back. They were looking at different swing styles, trying to analyze it, but the one thing they all did that they noticed, one of the commonalities, was their head back. Now, what do I mean by that? Let's hop over to the analyzer and show you what I'm talking about here. And I'll show you a couple quick examples, and then we'll work into the drill here. So I'm gonna just pull up Robert Rock. He's a really good neutral model. And I'm gonna draw a lineup for us right from the golf ball. So we can see how that goes. Yeah, we'll call that like lead armpit for him at that point. Now, what I want you to see is where his head is relative to that line. Obviously during the backswing, it stays behind it, but now watch during the downswing. So see in the initial shift from the top to about left arm parallel, maybe hands hip high, his head works just slightly towards the line. See that, just slightly towards the line. But then notice from here through, watch his head relative to that line. So watch this little spacing we have right here. So watch that from here. See how his head actually backs away from that into this position. This is the common position, if we look at that right there, that you're gonna see amongst pretty much all of the great drivers of the ball and the pros. So here's where his head started. Let's get rid of that line one time. Here's where his head started. We'll make a little gap. And now let's watch and get him to the top. So what does he do? He basically stays on that line, maybe a slight shift, slightly forward of it, but then he backs up, so at impact, he's actually behind the line he started with. So his head is back, but notice his weight and everything else is not back, is it? His hips, let's draw a line over the center of the belt buckle, his hips are forward. So his head is back, but his hips have pushed forward. The drill that I like to see to do this, and this is why I've got a sand wedge in here, how to learn how to keep the head back. And even though it's with driver, I want you to do it with this to start with. Grab a secondary club and put it right in line with the golf ball. So here I just got an 8-iron, doesn't matter what club you use. Put it right in line with the golf ball. Now I want you to imagine this as like a wall, right, or a line that goes up forever. What I'd like for you to do during the downswing is learn how to keep your head over the club, but push your hips and weight forward. So my head stays over this wall as my hips and weight are moving forward. So let's just do a little example with my sandwich. I'm just gonna hit one probably 50, 60, 70 yards. I'm trying to get my belt buckle relative to this wall forward and towards the target, but my head stays back. So I have like a little bit of that reverse C action there into the follow through. So hips push forward, head stays right over the stick. And there's my first attempt at it. So when I get done and I do it, I want to see my hips push forward, but my head over. Let's do that one more time. So here's the wall, my belt buckle pushes forward, and my head feels like it stays right over the wall. So when I get done and I do that, to me, my hips feel fully forward, my belt buckle feels like it points up towards the sky, my chest feels up towards the sky, and my upper body, even my neck and head feel like it's back more this way. Now, what I don't want to do is a couple of things. Number one, I don't want to have the hips back, head forward. So here's the wall, here's my hips back of the wall, and my head forward of the wall. This is the player who hits it very short. Here's the player who hits it the farthest. Watch me push my hips forward of it, and my head goes back of it, right here. So it's extension. So all I'm really doing from this down the line angle is I'm going here, and then I'm extending up this way. So I'm standing up, I'm pushing my hips forward, head back. Now the difference is I'm turned towards the target. So if you just stand up with me like this, just stand normal, relax a little bit, push your hips forward, pull your head back like a little bit of a reverse C, not to the point where you're straining your back, but a little bit of reverse C. Now I'm up towards the sky. This is your finish position. Turn your body towards the target. That's your swing. It's not this. This is what a lot of us do. Bend over and then turn. That's not what we're looking for. So what I would do to keep it simple is just put this club in. Now, as I go, as I'm hitting with that short club, with little swings like all this, eventually you want to go up clubs and add some speed. So here I got a 7-iron. I'll do like a 3/4 swing for the first one. And I got this club again right over the ball. My hips are going to push forward. Now my hips don't push forward like this, left hip here. My hips push forward like this. So my belt buckle's all the way pointed towards the target. If there's a wall right here, about 1 fist outside my leg, my belt buckle pushes to it. That's my hips pushing forward. I'm not saying slide this way, I'm saying push them this way. Head stays over the club. Let's do that here. I'll do a little 3/4 one first. So my hips push forward, my head stays back. Head arches back. Let's go ahead and hit one with that. Yeah, that's about as good as I can do. Now, what that does, if we shift over to the TrackMan, should help me produce some nice club head speed without the angle of attack getting crazy. So there's my 7-iron. I got 94 miles an hour. So there's my 7-iron. We can see that. Oop. We got 94 miles an hour. We got 23.7 dynamic loft. My angle of attack is 6 down, and my total is 179.4. So what I'm looking for here, when I produce those movements, is for me to have speed without the angle of attack getting way down. How do we hit our driver farther? What's my number one tip? Well, as we bring this up to driver, me keeping my head back allows me to hit up on the ball more, right? But also produces speed. If I want to produce speed in any athletic motion, I'm bent down, and then what? I'm extended up forward, high jump, any sort of motion where I create speed, squat, pushing out of the ground. It's the extension that creates the speed. We're just doing it out this way, okay? So let's go ahead and grab my driver here and do the same thing. So the same feeling, right? I've got the club here. I'm gonna go ahead and put this ball in. We'll see if the TrackMan will grab this or not. But I want to feel the same thing when you're just practicing. Put a club right where the ball is. So it'll be a little inside my left heel. And this is really my number one driver tip, is imagine that's a wall. Your head should be behind it at setup. It should stay behind it during the backswing. It should stay behind it in transition and actually back up a little bit from there into impact. Your head stays back of the wall while you push your hips forward. So I got that right in line. I'm gonna feel that once or twice. My hips push forward, my belt buckle and hips get over my left ankle, but my head's back over the wall. Hips forward, head over the wall. Hips forward, head back. Yeah, and that's good for me too. Let's see if the TrackMan picked that up. So we got 112 on the club head speed, which for me first swings, not that bad. We got angle of attack is 1.2 up, and the total distance is 303.8. So that's the point, right? Is listen, I swung at 112, that's more speed than we might have, but the ability to keep my head back allows me to hit up on the ball, which is gonna maximize the speed that I have. Now remember I said a couple things here before we wrap up. My head should start back. Put your hands on your quad, so you're set up. Put your right fingertips down where your fingertips are almost at your right knee. That's the tilt that gets your head back. The ball's forward inside my left heel and teed up pretty high. I need room to hit up on the ball. You tee the ball very low, you're not gonna hit up on it. If I have no tilt, I'm gonna hit down on it. So my head's back with tilt, hands on my right kneecap. My head stays back of that during my backswing, stays back, but I'm pushing my hips forward. Let's do one more. Hips forward to the wall, head back. Start with tilt, head's behind the wall, keep it behind, keep it behind. Yeah, there's another one. And when you do it correctly and hit it solid, the ball should be launching higher than normal and carrying farther. So you should be maximizing your distance. So there's 112 again. That one I hit 4.6 up. So I even overdid that one a little bit. It didn't get my distance, but I was 4.6 up. That was probably like 400. I couldn't track it, whatever. But that's head back, guys. Now, I'm gonna pull another 8 out, but I'm just gonna give you the simple version. If you want something to practice this at home, you wanna set something up where there's an object over your left shoulder. So like an object through the wall, through your golf bag, where you have it here, angled up over your left shoulder. Start with half swings, put the club right here, even with the ball, push your hips forward, but keep your head back. It's gonna feel like to you that you're doing like a reverse C compared to normal. But put the club in there first, that would be part one, and then put the object over your left shoulder. So it'd be like right here when you're practicing, and you wanna keep your head back of that as you're pushing your hips up and forward. That's my #1 driver advice. You go back and watch a US Open coverage, you'll see that. I could show you 100 examples on Analyzer, but just to show you the one. Again, if you guys like this video, press that gray thumbs up button. We'd really appreciate that. Like we mentioned in other videos, we're gonna be taking a lot of viewer questions. If you've got a specific driver question, leave it in the comments down below. We'll be doing some videos on that. If you wanna send your driver swing in, work with myself, all of our coaches at CogornoGolf.com, analyze your swing. We'd love to put a game plan together. We'll put that card on the screen along with a similar driver video. We'd love to see you at CogornoGolf.com.